4 women, 4 LLCs, $22 million, 16 years. Daniel Harrow was convicted on 4 of 7 counts. 38 months in federal prison. Arthur Weiss was disbarred. 24 months. We thought it was over. Monica went back to school. Lauren finally put it down. Sarah's name was cleared. And I went back to work. That was 8 months ago. This morning, my assistant put a business card on my desk. A new client, a project in Boston. The client's name, Richard Cole. The attorney's name, Arthur Weiss. I looked at that card for a long time, and I thought, he is apparently still working. So are we. The business card is still on my desk when I arrive at 8:15. I didn't touch it last night. I left it exactly where my assistant placed it, and I went home and I made dinner and I did not think about it. That is what I told myself. I thought about it the entire night. Richard Cole, Cole Development Group, Boston, Massachusetts. On the back of the card, handwritten in small, precise letters. Heard great things about Weston Structural. Would love to discuss the Meridian Tower project. RC. Meridian Tower. I know that project. Every structural engineer in New England knows that project. A 42-story mixed-use development in the south end of Boston. The most significant commercial development in Massachusetts in a decade. The kind of project that defines a firm's reputation for the next 20 years. The kind of project that would make Weston Structural Group untouchable. The kind of project you would use as bait. I pick up the card. I turn it over. I read the handwriting again. Heard great things about Weston Structural. How? We are 11 people in Providence, Rhode Island. We are excellent. We are not yet the kind of firm that a Boston developer calls out of nowhere for a 42-story tower. Unless someone told him to call. Unless someone pointed him here specifically. I set the card down. I pick up my phone. I call Monica. She picks up on the second ring. I was wondering when you'd call, she says. I stop. You know about Richard Cole, I say. I know about Richard Cole, she says. He contacted me 3 days ago, asked if I had worked with Weston Structural Group, said he was considering hiring you for a major Boston project. 3 days ago. Before the card appeared on my desk. He researched Monica before he approached me. What did you tell him? I say. I told him you were the best structural firm in New England, she says, and then I hung up and called Lauren. Lauren has been back in Boston for 8 months. She reopened her interior design studio in the South End, the same neighborhood where Richard Cole wants to build his 42-story tower. She picks up before the first ring finishes. Claire. You already know, I say. Richard Cole contacted me 4 days ago, she says. Asked if I knew you personally. Asked about the quality of your work. Asked whether Weston Structural Group was looking to expand into Boston. 4 days ago, before Monica, before the card, he built a sequence. Lauren first, Monica second, then me. He's been mapping us, I say. Yes, Lauren says. And Claire, she pauses. I know his name, not from the Boston development scene, from before. I go very still. From before, I say. Richard Cole was an investor in the Providence courthouse conversion, Lauren says. He put in $800,000 in 2017, one of Daniel's investors. One of the 9 men whose capital Daniel had hidden, misrepresented, and used without proper disclosure. One of the 9 men who recovered 63% of their capital through the asset liquidation. One of the 9 men who lost 37% because of what Daniel did. Or one of the 9 men who appeared to lose 37%. Who appeared to be a victim. But who, in reality, knew exactly where the money went. Lauren, I say, how much do you know about Cole Development Group? Enough, she says. Give me 24 hours. I'll know everything. I call Sarah last. She is quieter than the others. She always is. But she has been paying attention in ways none of us expected. I know about Cole, she says before I finish the sentence. How? I say. Because my husband works in commercial real estate, she says. And 3 weeks ago, he came home from a networking event in Hartford and mentioned that a Boston developer named Richard Cole was looking for structural engineering firms for a major South End project. 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks before Lauren. 3 weeks before Monica. 3 weeks before the card on my desk. He has been circling. For a very long time. Sarah, I say. What did your husband say about him? A pause. He said Cole was Daniel Harrow's silent partner on 2 projects between 2015 and 2018. Silent partner, 2015 to 2018. The years directly after Monica's confidentiality agreement. The years directly before our wedding. The years when Daniel's scheme was running at full capacity. Richard Cole was not a victim. Richard Cole was a participant. We meet in Providence, my office at Weston Structural Group. After hours. Monica, Lauren, Sarah, and me. 4 chairs around my drafting table. Lauren's research spread across the surface. 24 hours of work. Lauren does not waste time. She opens the first folder. Richard Cole, 51 years old, founder of Cole Development Group, based in Boston. 14 completed projects across Massachusetts and Connecticut. She opens the second folder. Between 2015 and 2018, silent partner on 2 Harrow development projects. Total investment, $4.2 million. She opens the third folder. Those 2 projects are not among the 9 identified in the federal investigation. I look up. They're not in the investigation, I say. No, Lauren says, because they were structured differently. They were not investor capital. They were partnership agreements. Private, off the main books. Arthur Weiss drafted both. Arthur Weiss. Of course. So when the federal investigation happened, Monica says, Cole's involvement was never examined, Lauren says. His name never appeared in the federal filings. He was a private partner, not a disclosed investor. The investigation looked at the investors, not the partners. He walked away clean. While 9 investors lost money. While 4 women were silenced. While Daniel went to prison. Richard Cole walked away clean. And now, 8 months after the conviction, he is approaching me. With Arthur Weiss. And a 42-story building. He wants the firm, I say. The room goes quiet. What do you mean? Sarah says. I look at Lauren's research. The Meridian Tower project is real, I say, but that's not what he wants. He wants Weston Structural Group, the firm, the name, the reputation I built. I think about Daniel, standing at the kickoff meeting, walking in late, mid-sentence on his phone, looking at me like I was an opportunity. He had a type, not just in women, in what he could take from them. And now his partner is standing at my door with Arthur Weiss and a business card with neat handwriting. Heard great things. I bet you did. I call Patricia that night. She picks up on the second ring. I was going to call you, she says. You know, I say. David Chu called me this afternoon. He found something in the Cole Development Group filings that he wanted me to see first. Tell me, I say. Cole Development Group is currently registered in 3 states, Patricia says. Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Delaware. Delaware. The Delaware entity, I say, was opened 6 months ago, Patricia says. Single beneficial owner. I close my eyes. What name? I say. A pause. Claire A. Weston, Patricia says. The room tilts. Claire A. Weston. My name. My middle initial. A Delaware LLC opened 6 months ago that I did not open and did not know existed. He didn't wait to trap me. He already did. I sit at my kitchen table for a long time. The tea goes cold. I don't drink it. This is different from before. Before, with Daniel, the trap was built inside the marriage, inside the relationship, inside the trust. This is different. This man does not know me. He has never met me. He has never been in the same room as me. He opened a business entity in my name based solely on my professional reputation. The reputation I built from nothing, after Daniel, after the divorce, after the building. He looked at what I built and decided it was useful to him. Without my knowledge. Without my consent. While I was sitting in this kitchen, believing it was over. While I slept. The name of the playlist has never felt more accurate. I think about Monica. I think about Monica sitting in that restaurant 9 years after Daniel, rehearsing what she would say to me. I think about Lauren. 12 years of shame for loving someone who deceived her. I think about Sarah, throwing away IRS letters for 2 years to protect her daughter from a story that was never hers to carry. And I think, no, not again. Not one more woman. Not one more name. Not one more Delaware, LLC, opened in the dark, while someone sleeps. I open my phone. I text all 3 of them. 4 words. He already did it. Our 3 response bubbles appear simultaneously. Monica. I know, Patricia called. Lauren. What do we do? Sarah. Tell us. I look at those 3 messages. For a long moment. 4 women. 1 text thread. The specific quiet power of people who have been through something together and came out the other side, knowing exactly what they are capable of. I type back. Same thing we always do. We walk the structure. We find the failure. We build something better. Meet me tomorrow, my office, 8 a.m. Bring everything. 8 a.m., my office, all 4 of us. Lauren has been up since 4. She has 3 new folders. Patricia joins by phone. David Chu is already at his desk. Here is what we know, Patricia says. Richard Cole was Daniel Harrow's silent partner on 2 off-book projects between 2015 and 2018. Arthur Weiss structured both partnerships. Cole's involvement was never examined in the federal investigation. 6 months ago, Cole Development Group opened a Delaware LLC in Claire Weston's name without her knowledge or consent. 3 weeks ago, Cole began approaching Monica Harrow, Lauren Marsh, and Sarah, all women connected to the original Harrow case, to build credibility for approaching Claire. His stated purpose: to hire Weston Structural Group for the Meridian Tower project in Boston. His actual purpose, Patricia pauses. His actual purpose is the same as Daniel's was. Use the firm's name and reputation as a vehicle. Build a structure that appears legitimate on the surface while moving capital underneath through entities attached to names that can't easily be traced back to him. The room is very quiet. Monica is looking at her hands. Lauren is looking at the folders. Sarah is looking at me. He watched Daniel get caught, Sarah says quietly, and he thinks he can do it better. Yes, Patricia says. Can he? Sarah says. No, Patricia says, because Claire is not the woman he researched. He researched Claire Weston from 18 months ago. He does not know who Claire Weston is now. I look at Patricia's name on my phone screen. I think about the courthouse kickoff meeting. I think about Daniel walking in late. I think about a man who looked at me and saw an opportunity. They always make the same mistake. They look at what I built and see something they can take. They never look at how I build. They never ask, what happens to people who try to take apart something I designed? What do we do? Lauren says. I look around the table. We take the meeting, I say. 3 days later. A conference room in Boston. Richard Cole's offices. 22nd floor. Harbor views. The kind of office designed to make you feel like you are smaller than you are. I have spent my entire career in rooms designed to make women feel smaller. I stopped feeling smaller a long time ago. Richard Cole is 51 years old. Gray hair, silver watch. The kind of tan you get from weekends on a boat rather than a beach. He stands when I enter, extends his hand, smiles the smile of a man who has already decided how this meeting ends. Ms. Weston, thank you for coming to Boston. I've heard extraordinary things about your firm. Thank you for the invitation, I say. We sit. His attorney is already there. Arthur Weiss. 58 years old now, thinner than I imagined. The specific thinness of a man who has spent time in a place with institutional food and worried sleep. He looks at me, and I look at him, and we both understand everything that is happening in this room. He knows I know. I know he knows I know. Richard Cole does not know either of us knows anything. Cole opens a presentation. The Meridian Tower, 42 floors, mixed-use residential and commercial, total project value, $380 million. He talks for 12 minutes. He is good. Not as good as Daniel. Daniel had a warmth that Cole lacks, but competent, experienced, the practiced ease of a man who has done this many times. I listen. I take notes. I ask 3 technical questions about the structural requirements that are genuinely interesting and have nothing to do with why I am in this room. He answers 2 of them correctly. He has done his homework. At the end, he leans forward. Ms. Weston, I want to be direct with you. This is not just a project offer. I am interested in a long-term partnership. Cole Development Group is expanding significantly over the next 5 years. I want Weston Structural Group to be my exclusive structural firm. Exclusive. There it is. He doesn't want the project. He wants the firm. Exclusively. For 5 years. 5 years of my firm's name. Attached to every Cole development entity. 5 years of Claire A. Weston. On every filing, every LLC, every Delaware registration. 5 years of building something. I would never be able to fully see because I would be too close to it. It's elegant, actually. It is the most sophisticated version of the same scheme. I smile. That's a very generous offer, I say. I'd like to take a few days to review the project details before giving you an answer. Of course, he says, completely relaxed. He thinks I'm considering it. We shake hands. I look at Arthur Weiss one more time on my way out the door. He is not relaxed. He knows. He calls me that evening, private number, but I know who it is before I answer. Ms. Weston. Mr. Weiss, I say. A long pause. I want you to know, he says, that I advised against this. From the beginning. I told him you would see it. I sit with that. Arthur Weiss. The man who spent 16 years building traps for women. The man who told Monica she didn't need her own attorney. The man who buried the 10-year clause on page 3. Now calling me. To tell me he advised against it. Why are you calling me? I say. Because I am not going back to prison, he says. I cooperated fully last time. I will cooperate fully again. Whatever you need. I think about Patricia. Traps have a way of catching. The people who built them. Mr. Weiss, I say, you will call Patricia Lowe tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. You will tell her everything you know about Richard Cole, Cole Development Group, and the Delaware LLC opened in my name. Everything. From the beginning. A pause. And if I do, he says. Then you have done the only useful thing you can still do, I say. I hang up. He calls Patricia at 9:03 the next morning. He talks for 2 hours and 17 minutes. Patricia records everything with his consent. What Arthur Weiss knows, Richard Cole was not just Daniel's silent partner on 2 projects. He was the architect of the original scheme. The architect. Not Daniel. Daniel was the face, the charm, the easy smile. The man who walked into rooms and made them like him. But the structure, the LLCs, the Delaware entities, the confidentiality agreements, the system of using women's names as financial instruments. That was Cole. Cole designed it. Weiss built it. Daniel operated it. 3 men. 1 system. 16 years. And when the federal investigation came, when Daniel was arrested, when Weiss cooperated, when the whole structure came down, Cole was never touched. Because he had designed it that way. He was the architect. He knew exactly where to put his own name and where not to. I sit in Patricia's conference room and listen to the recording. Monica is beside me, Lauren on the phone, Sarah on the phone. We listen to all 2 hours and 17 minutes. When it ends, nobody speaks for a long time. Then Monica says, "He designed the thing that was done to all of us." "Yes," I say. "He sat in the background for 16 years while Daniel took the credit and the fall and we—" She stops. I know what she was going to say. While we lost the years, while we lost the money, while we lost the trust, while we signed documents we didn't understand, while we threw away IRS letters, while we were ashamed of ourselves for loving someone who deceived us, while we paid the cost of a system. A man named Richard Cole designed in a Boston office, 22 floors above the harbor. "Patricia," I say. "Yes," she says. "How long to build the case?" Patricia looks at the recording on her desk. With Weiss cooperating and the Delaware LLC evidence, she picks up her pen. 60 days, she says. November becomes December. December becomes January. I go to work every morning. I run Weston Structural Group. I manage 5 active projects. I eat lunch with Naomi on Tuesdays. I do not take the Meridian Tower meeting. I do not call Richard Cole back. I let him wait. I let him wonder. I let him sit in his 22nd floor office with his harbor view and his silver watch and his Delaware LLC in my name and wonder why Claire Weston hasn't called. He is not used to waiting. Men like Richard Cole are never used to waiting. Good. Monica calls me on a Wednesday evening in the middle of December. "How are you?" she says. "Building," I say. She is quiet for a moment. "Are you scared?" she says. I think about it. Am I scared? I think about the first time. The 42 days I lived with Daniel after the discovery, making dinner, watching television, sleeping beside him, building the case in the background. I think about Patricia's office. The first meeting. My father on my left. I think about the Weston building. Standing alone in the empty hall. Before the inauguration. Am I scared? No, I say. Why not? Monica says. I look out my window. The Weston building. Top 3 floors. The light's still on. Because I've already done this, I say. I know how buildings fall. A pause. Then Monica laughs. Really laughs. And I laugh too. The second time, in this entire story, that I have laughed. Richard Cole calls on a Tuesday morning in January. I let it go to voicemail. He leaves a message. Still warm, still professional. A man who has not yet realized that the waiting is not hesitation. It is the last 60 days of his professional life. I listen to the message. I delete it. I call Patricia. Are we ready? I say. We have been ready for 2 weeks, she says. I was waiting for you. File it, I say. The filing lands on a Wednesday morning in late January. This time, it is not just Patricia. The U.S. Attorney's Office has been building parallel since Weiss's cooperation began. This time, it is not a civil case. This time, it is not a divorce. This time, it is conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to commit securities fraud, unauthorized use of personal identity for financial gain, obstruction of justice in connection with the original Harrow investigation. Richard Cole is named as the primary architect of a scheme spanning 16 years, 4 states, and 11 women. 11. Not 4. 11. We found 7 more. Women we hadn't found before. Women in other cities. Other projects. Other names on other Delaware entities. 11 women. 1 architect. Richard Cole. He is arrested on a Thursday morning at his 22nd floor office. 2 federal agents. The Harbor View behind him, the silver watch on his wrist. The Providence Journal runs the story. The Boston Globe runs it above the fold. The Wall Street Journal picks it up. The headline in the Globe reads, "The man behind the man. Federal agents arrest Boston developer as architect of 16-year fraud scheme." The man behind the man. That's what he was. For 16 years, the man nobody looked at, because Daniel Harrow was so easy to look at. The architect, now arrested, now charged, now being processed, in the same federal building where Daniel Harrow was sentenced 14 months ago. Richard Cole is convicted on 6 of 9 counts. He is sentenced to 61 months in federal prison. Arthur Weiss, who cooperated for the second time, fully and completely, receives a reduced sentence, 18 months, to be served consecutively with time already served. His cooperation is the reason 7 more women are found. 7 more women. I think about that number. For a long time. 11 total. 11 women, whose names were used as instruments in a system designed by a man. None of them ever met. Lauren Marsh met Daniel. Monica Harrow married Daniel. I married Daniel. But the other 8, they never met the man, whose system used their names, their identities, their professional reputations, without a single conversation. Just a Delaware filing. Just a signature they never gave. Just their names, in someone else's architecture. The Delaware LLC in my name is dissolved in March. Claire A. Weston no longer exists. In any filing, in any state, that I did not personally authorize. I stand in my office on the morning the dissolution is confirmed, and I look out the window at the Weston building, and I think, mine. All of it. Mine. Patricia organizes a meeting, not a legal meeting, not a strategy session, just a meeting. 11 women, a conference room in Providence, a Thursday afternoon in April. I have never met most of them. There is a woman from Hartford who had a Delaware LLC in her name for 8 years and never knew. There is a woman from New Haven who had signed a confidentiality agreement in 2016 that she thought was a standard NDA for a consulting arrangement. There is a woman from Cambridge who had been receiving notices from a business she had never heard of for 3 years and had assumed it was identity theft and had been trying, quietly and alone, to resolve it through the credit bureaus. 3 years. Trying to resolve it alone. Through the credit bureaus. Because nobody had told her what it actually was. We sit in that conference room for 4 hours. We talk. Not about the legal case, not about the conviction, not about what comes next, about what it cost, each of us. The years. The shame. The specific exhaustion of carrying something you don't fully understand and are not sure you are allowed to name. The woman from Cambridge, her name is Diana, says something near the end of the afternoon that I have thought about every day since. She says, "The worst part was not knowing there were others. The worst part was thinking I was the only one, that it was something about me specifically, that I had done something to deserve being used this way." I look around the room. 11 women. All of us nodding. All of us recognizing the specific loneliness of believing you are the only one. When the whole time and the entire time, there were 10 others, sitting in other rooms, in other cities, believing the same thing. Monica raises her glass. Water this time. We are not celebrating. Not exactly. To Diana, she says, and to the 7 we found, and to the ones we haven't found yet. Because there may be more. Patricia believes there are more. We are still looking. I stay after everyone leaves. I sit in the empty conference room and I look at the table where 11 women sat for 4 hours and told the truth about something that was done to them without their knowledge or their consent or their participation. I think about Thomas Weston, civil engineer, the man who taught me that buildings are only as strong as the decisions made. Before the first wall went up, I think about what he would say about all of this. I think he would say, "You found the failure. You built something better, floor by floor." And then he would say, "Keep going. There are always more floors." I walk out of Patricia's building into a Thursday afternoon in April. Providence, the harbor in the distance, spring finally arriving after a very long winter. My phone buzzes, a text from Monica. Dinner tonight? All 4 of us. I smile. I type back. Yes. Lauren's pick. Tell her nothing with a view of the harbor. I'm tired of harbors. Monica sends back a laughing emoji. Then, Claire. Yes? Thank you. For picking up the phone. That first time. When I called. I look at my phone. Standing on a Providence street. In April. I think about sitting in my office on a Tuesday afternoon 8 months ago. My assistant. Line 2. A woman. Monica Harrow. I almost didn't pick up. I almost let it go to voicemail. I almost decided. The story was finished. I type back, I'm glad I answered. Me too, she says. Me too. There is one more thing. 6 months after Richard Cole's conviction, I receive a letter. Not a business card. Not a voicemail. A letter. Handwritten. On personal stationery. The return address. A federal correctional facility in Massachusetts. The handwriting. Small. Precise. Familiar. I open it. There are 3 sentences. Ms. Weston, I designed the system, but I never designed. For someone like you. Signed. Richard Cole. I read it twice. Then I fold it. I put it in the same drawer as the photograph of the courthouse, the one that arrived. After Daniel's sentencing, she fixed a lot more than that. 2 letters, 2 men, the same admission. I built something they didn't know how to account for. I still am. In episode 4, Diana, the woman from Cambridge, who spent 3 years trying to resolve it alone. She found something in her own documents that none of us found. Something that suggests Richard Cole was not the architect. He was the contractor. Someone else drew the plans. Don't miss it. Sweet revenge, floor by floor.